So yesterday we were discussing about antivirals. Today we'll discuss antiretrovirals. Okay. Now retroviruses are special in the sense that they have something called reverse transcriptase. The specialty of reverse transcriptase is that it will allow viral RNA to get converted into DNA. That DNA can get imparted into the host cell DNA and it can continue its replication. Okay, so we have a virus. Let's suppose this is the virus. Okay, let's suppose this is the RNA of the virus. Okay, this is RNA. This fellow will get integrated, or first of all it will enter the human cell. Okay, let's suppose this is a standard human cell with a nucleus which has a double stranded DNA. ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा, this virus once it enters inside your body, uncoats and uncoats into the cell, this RNA, single stranded RNA, can be converted into DNA, okay, by a particular enzyme. That enzyme will be called reverse transcriptase. Any virus that has reverse transcriptase in its structure, it will be called a retrovirus. Now there are two main important retroviruses. One is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, okay, which causes AIDS. There are two types of HIV, HIV1 and HIV2. Then there is another type of retrovirus called HTLV, okay, human T lymphotropic virus बोलते हैं उसको. That also has one type 1 and type 2. Anyway, in this case we'll be discussing mainly about HIV because that is more common in compared to HTLV. Okay. Now, the problem with antiretrovirals is antivirals or antiretrovirals, it will not be able to differentiate between normal cells and diseased cells. Or to put it in another way, if you're trying to kill the virus, you will end up killing or affecting your normal human cell as well. Right. That is why the side effects of antivirals and especially antiretrovirals will be very severe. Right, because the antiviral and retrovirals are affecting both the host cell as well as the virus. It will cause host cell damage as well, leading to severe toxicity. Now coming to the drugs that are used in antiretrovirals, there are three main types of antiretrovirals. Antiretrovirals. Okay. First one is called nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Okay. They have a nucleosidic base, meaning they will have a nucleoside. Thymidine will be one example. ठीक है, adenine, thymidine, वो base से बनाते ये drug को. All right. So basically, it has a sugar unit and a nitrogen base. It is not a nucleotide. It is a nucleoside. Nucleotide बनने के लिए you need phosphate as well. Nucleoside will only have sugar and nitrogen base. ठीक है, यहाँ पर न्यूक्लियोसाइड रिवर्स ट्रांसक्रिप्ट इनहिबिटर्स को NRTIs भी बोलते हैं. Okay, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors, NRTIs. Now the examples for NRTIs will include zidovudine, stamivudine, stavudine, lamivudine, and abacavir. Okay. Now nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors जो है, we'll discuss about the first one, zidovudine. How they work is that this drug will get inside, it is also abbreviated AZT. Okay? The active form of the drug, or rather than active form I should say, that this drug is derived from one particular chemical. Okay? It is a thymidine analog, azithromycin bolte usko. That is why its abbreviation is AZT. Anyway, just remember that zidovudine is abbreviated as AZT, and in some case sheets you might find that whenever a doctor is writing in it, they will write they'll just write the abbreviation, they'll write AZT, that's it, rather than writing the whole zidovudine. Now this fellow is a reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Okay? As I told you, reverse transcriptase is an enzyme which will help in the conversion of viral RNA into DNA. ठीक है, so that DNA may attach into the human DNA and continue prolongation. Okay, chain elongation occurs, replication occurs. After that, where new virions are formed. Zidovudine will stop that process. Okay, so if we have a, suppose ssRNA being converted into dsDNA, ठीक है, यहाँ पर you have the enzyme reverse transcriptase. The virus itself will have this reverse transcriptase. Zidovudine simply blocks that. So zidovudine will act as a reverse transcriptase inhibitor. It is of nucleoside base. That is why it is coming under nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. All of those nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors will have the same mechanism of action. Zidovudine, stavudine, lamivudine, nabagaver, पूरों का same रहता है mechanism of action. Okay, it is a competitive inhibitor for reverse transcriptase. Zidovudine. Okay. Now the catch is that this will affect on viruses which have not yet integrated into human cell. इसका मतलब क्या है? Let's suppose we are taking two scenarios. We have one virus and there is one cell. Let's suppose this is human cell and virus. Now before this virus, let's suppose the virus has entered but it has not converted its genetic material into DNA and it has not integrated with the human DNA. इसका मतलब क्या है? The virus has still not combined with the DNA of the human. Okay, this RNA has not converted into DNA and that DNA has not attached to human DNA. In that case, zidovudine is helpful. ठीक है, यहाँ पर जाके it will block. But if you have another cell in which there is already a virus that has come in, okay, this RNA has already been converted into DNA and that DNA has integrated into the human's DNA. So let's suppose I'm drawing a new DNA like this, okay. So this black DNA, let's suppose that is viral DNA. So in the second scenario, so this is the first scenario, this is the second scenario. In the first scenario, the virus has not yet converted its genetic material into DNA and got integrated with the human DNA. In the second scenario, we have a virus whose genetic material has already converted and it has integrated. Zidovudine will work on this but not on this. Okay? It can only stop viruses before it is attaching to the DNA, before integration with DNA is occurring. Once integration with chromosomes, host chromosomes have occurred, zidovudine will be useless. Okay? It can only affect cells whose DNA has not yet integrated with viral DNA. All right, keep that in mind. Now coming to PK of the drug. So I hope you understood that. One second. Oh dear, ये भी उड़ गया. RNA to dsDNA. Okay. Now the PK of the drug will be that its absorption is very rapid, but bioavailability is only 65%. PK, rapid absorption. F is around 65%. Okay. It will get metabolized very quickly and it will get metabolized through liver. Okay. Generally gets metabolized within an hour. So quick metabolism, specifically quick hepatic metabolism, okay, because of which T half is around, one second, why did this fellow come here? Okay, because it is quickly metabolizing, it is quickly getting metabolized through your liver. The T half is around 1 hour. That's it. It will not stay in your body for a very long period of time. Now, the 15 to 20% of unchanged drug which is not getting metabolized properly, that will get excreted with the metabolized drug in urine. So there is primarily urinary excretion, both unchanged form and changed form. Okay, most of the drug will get metabolized through your liver. Some of it, around 15-20%, will not get metabolized. In any case, the metabolized part and the non-metabolized part, the new metabolites that are formed of the drug and the unchanged drug, zidovudine itself, both of them get excreted out of the urine. Okay, out of the body through urine. Now, it achieves a certain level, around 50% of concentration in CSF. So you can technically treat neurological viral infections as well with this. If the patient is having neurological implications, उसमें use कर सकते हैं. Another advantage of this drug is that let's suppose if a mother has HIV, okay, and you want to prevent the spread of HIV from the mother to the child, this drug is very helpful because zidovudine crosses placenta and milk. Okay, so I'll just write AZT crosses placenta and milk, meaning it will be helpful both in gestation and lactation. ये यहाँ पर काम आता जहाँ पर when you want to avoid useful in avoiding transmission of HIV from mother to child. Okay, if you have a pregnant mother who has HIV, who is HIV positive, and you want to avoid the child from getting HIV, you can start them on zidovudine. Okay. Now, one important thing about this is you have to give this drug with a lot of fluids, or else there can be a chance of nephrolithiasis. Whenever you are giving this drug, take plenty of water. Plenty of water with the drug. All right. Normally, you give around 300 mg twice a day dosage in adults. If you're giving it in children, it will be based on their body surface area. Okay, you'll give around 180 mg per meter square. So you will decrease the drug depending on what is the size of the child. Okay, do not give over 200 mg 3 times per day. In any case, zidovudine is only effective on retroviruses. It will have no effect on any other virus. So it will only work on HIV and HTLV. Now, specific adverse effects related to this include anemia and neutropenia. These are dose related. The higher the dose, the higher the chance of the patient having anemia and neutropenia, and the higher the degree of anemia and neutropenia. Dose dependent. Okay. There are some other side effects as well. Now, generally what happens is once you start giving the patient zidovudine, they will have nausea, anorexia, abdominal pain, headache. They will not be able to sleep properly. They'll have insomnia. They'll have muscle pain. This will only occur at the start of the treatment. As it continues, it will eventually dissipate. In the sense, the signs will dissipate. They will not be suffering from those side effects if they keep on using zidovudine for a period of time. Their body will acquire resistance to those side effects. Okay. Now, there are a lot of interactions of zidovudine. Specifically, if you give, let's suppose if you give paracetamol along with zidovudine, it will cause zidovudine toxicity. Okay, it will mess up with zidovudine's metabolism, leading to toxicity. So just write interactions here. Paracetamol increases AZT toxicity. Okay. Any azole antifungals, ketoconazole, clotrimazole, परसों पढ़े ना अपन, imidazoles and triazoles, both of them, if any of those azole antifungals are given with zidovudine, its metabolism is inhibited. Okay. So azole antifungals, ketoconazole, fluconazole, पूरे जो पढ़े थे परसों, inhibit metabolism of AZT. Okay. Avoid giving any other nephrotoxic and myelosuppressive drug with this. Okay. If you give nephrotoxic drugs like we have ARBs, ACEs, there is aminoglycosides, things like that. वो nephrotoxic drugs या myelosuppressive drugs. Myelosuppressive drugs are those drugs that will suppress your how should I put it, your bone marrow, because function of bone marrow will get suppressed. Myelosuppressive drugs, you will have chloramphenicol, uh, carbamazepine, linezolid, flucytosine, वो पूरे myelosuppressive drugs है. Nephrotoxic myelosuppressive drugs and probenecid. Probenecid is a drug that is uric or suric. It will help in eliminating uric acid levels from body, used in gout. If you use any of these drugs with AZT, will lead to toxicity. Okay. Another thing is that if you give stavudine and zidovudine together, they will cause mutual antagonism. Okay. If you give stavudine and zidovudine together, they will cancel each other's effect out. They are mutually antagonistic. Okay. Generally, you use zidovudine in combination with two other antiretroviral drugs. If you are treating HIV, you use combination of drugs, and in this case, you will use zidovudine with two other types of drugs. Okay. Generally, an NRTI and with a protease inhibitor. So that was NRTIs, nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. Then we have non-NRTIs, non-nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitors. इसमें दो मेन ड्रग आते, nevirapine and efavirenz. ठीक है, they are more drugs. These are the most common ones and the more important ones. All right. Now these are abbreviated NVP and EFV. NVP, EFV. Generally, जब combination therapy देते, if you go to a hospital and check a HIV patient, you will see that in their case sheet, their combination of drugs will be written in such a way that AZT plus NVP or AZT plus EFV as a combination से लिखते हैं, rather than writing the whole drug altogether. Now, these are also reverse transcriptase inhibitors, but they do not get phosphorylated intracellularly. That is the difference between zidovudine and these drugs. These will not get phosphorylated. These are more potent than zidovudine as well. Okay. These directly. Atul, I'm not able to hear you. Put it in the chat if you have a doubt. Directly inhibit reverse transcriptase. Okay. So these are also inhibiting reverse transcriptase without getting phosphorylated. Zidovudine gets phosphorylated. All right. Now these drugs are more potent antivirals. Let me put it this way, than AZT. Okay, especially in case of HIV-1. They will not exactly affect HIV-2. It will not work altogether on HIV-2. As I told you, HIV has two subtypes. You will have HIV-1 and HIV-2. HIV-1 is more common. Okay. Nevirapine and efavirenz will work on HIV-1 but not on HIV-2. Now, specifically, if we talk about the PK of efavirenz, so okay, this drug gets absorbed incompletely. So oral absorption is incomplete. Around 50% of the drug only will get absorbed. Oral absorption is around 50%. Okay. Absorption itself is 50%, meaning bioavailability can be even lower. Bioavailability is the total amount of the total concentration of the drug that is reaching the site of wherever that problem is. Okay. Or it is reaching systemic circulation. The amount that is absorbed is different. The amount that is reaching systemic circulation is different. Okay. It undergoes hepatic metabolism. T-half is around 48 hours. Okay. Because the T-half is so long, you can space out the drug a little bit. Okay. It will stay in your body for almost 2 days. So a little more than 2 days actually. gets excreted through urine. All right. Now, both efavirenz and nevirapine are uh, CYP3A4, meaning microsomal enzyme enhancers. Okay, meaning if you give any other drug, for example, these are microsomal inducers भी बोल सकते हैं लोगों को, microsomal enhancers भी बोल सकते हैं. They will increase the amount of microsomal enzymes. उसका मतलब क्या है? Let's suppose there is some X drug that depends on microsomal enzymes for metabolism. ठीक है? If you give nevirapine or efavirenz with this X drug, the duration for which this X drug will work will decrease. Okay? Because the metabolism of X drug is increasing. Listen again. अगर nevirapine या efavirenz दिए, both of them are microsomal enzyme inducers और microsomal enzyme enhancers. मतलब आपके liver के अंदर जो enzymes रहते हैं उसको बढ़ा देते. The effect is that if you give any other drug with efavirenz and nevirapine, which itself is relying on these microsomal enzymes. If let's suppose there is some X drug that is relying on this microsomal enzyme to get metabolized, if you give it with nevirapine and efavirenz, the duration for which this X drug will work will decrease. So normally if this drug without the presence of nevirapine or efavirenz was working for, let's suppose, 8 hours, if you give it with nevirapine and efavirenz, this might come down to maybe 5 hours or 6 hours. Okay, maybe even more, depending on how much what do you call the concentration of the drug given and the concentration of efavirenz or nevirapine given. Okay, if you give them together, they will cause each other's enhancement as well. They will cause mutual metabolic enhancement as well. Okay. Now, as such, you will give efavirenz around 600 mg OD on empty stomach. So, efavirenz is given 600 mg once a day on empty stomach. Okay. Specific side effects include you will have headache, rashes, the patient might have dizziness, insomnia, and neuropsychiatric symptoms. Now, those neuropsychiatric symptoms can be hallucinations. The patient might have confusion. They'll forget. They might have short-term amnesia. Okay. Uh, the patient can also have nausea and vomiting. Okay. So those are the effects of efavirenz, and that is about your NNRTIs. Now coming to the last class of antivirals, antiretrovirals, we have protease inhibitors. Now, protease inhibitors किधर काम आते हैं? See, protease is an enzyme that is helpful for the virus during its process of replication. कैसा बोले तो? Let's suppose we take one cell like this. Okay? And the virus has come. That fellow bound to the cell wall and it got uncoated. Okay? So ऐसा virus था. And this fellow came out, uncoating occurred. यहाँ पर reverse transcription हुआ where it became DNA. Or let me use a different color. Let's suppose it underwent reverse transcription and it became DNA. This DNA got incorporated into your nuclear DNA, human DNA. Okay? And let's suppose this is the viral DNA. And what happens is this fellow will cause the production of certain proteins. Okay? They will be called long chain proteins. Now, if you remember, I told you proteins are literally like commands. Okay? It will cause long chain proteins to be produced. Okay? These proteins in turn are responsible for the formation of viral enzymes, viral capsules, viral components. ठीक है? उसके लिए क्या होता? ये जो long chain protein है, उसको break करते. So let's suppose this is a long chain protein that is being formed. This is broken down into smaller segments. Okay? And each protein will do one function, different function. Let's suppose this is responsible for formation of enzymes of that virus. This is responsible for some other cell organelle of the virus. This is responsible for formation of capsule of the virus. Okay? Something. ठीक है, cell organelles, capsule, different components of the virus. यहाँ पर the enzyme that is cleaving this protein, which is breaking down this protein into smaller chain proteins, will be protease. ठीक है, this enzyme यहाँ पर is protease. Okay, I'll repeat once again, listen carefully. Once the virus, let's suppose the patient has HIV, and that HIV virus is coming into a healthy normal cell, and it is binding, it is uncoating, it undergoes reverse transcription where RNA gets converted into DNA, and that DNA gets incorporated into human DNA. Once it has done that, the viral DNA, or basically the whole of that genetic structure, will divide. Okay, the purpose of the virus to invade into a human is that it can replicate. यहाँ पर the viral DNA will replicate in such a way that it will form a very long chain protein. It will form several long chain proteins. Okay, those long chain proteins act like commands, so that you can what you call make enzymes, you can make viral components from the proteins. But in order to do so, you need to separate those proteins into smaller sections, in the sense that, let's suppose in an office I have around 20 employees. Okay, I'm giving 5 people a different task, 5 people a different task, like that. In 20 people, I'm giving 4 different tasks by dividing all of them into 5 groups each. यहाँ पर वही हो रहा, I have a total of 20 people का मतलब यहाँ पर I have a long chain protein that I am dividing, or the virus is dividing into different smaller components to get different components of the virus. Okay, to make enzymes, to make capsule, to make different parts of the virus. To do that, the virus will need one particular enzyme called protease. It will break down protein. Okay? Now, our protease inhibitors will literally inhibit this action. It will not let protease function properly. It will bind with protease. Competitive inhibitor का वैसा काम करता है. It will rather than competitive inhibitor, I would say indirect inhibitor. ठीक है? It will bind with protease itself and it will interfere with its function. ठीक है? Because of that, the long chain protein will not be able to break down, hence there are no virions formed. Replication is completely stopped. Okay, this is even helpful in viruses which have just infected the cell, or viruses which have already infected the cell, already bound to the genetic material of the human, and they are starting to produce. Okay, whenever you give a protease inhibitor, the advantage is that from that point onwards, any more virions will not be formed, at least in the cells that this protease inhibitor is entering into. Any more virions will not be formed. Okay, because these enzymes and capsules and all of that, they will club together to make a new virion which will burst out of the cell. यहाँ पर protease को inhibit कर रहा था, you are inhibiting every sequential effect of that. Now, the specific drugs that come under this include indinavir, we have saquinavir, and there is ritonavir. ठीक है, 3 drugs है. Now, specifically, if we talk about indinavir, you have to take this drug. इसको IDV बोल के भी abbreviate करते हैं. IDV. Okay. Now, indinavir should be taken on empty stomach. I'll erase these. I hope you understood the mechanism of action. Another advantage of protease inhibitors is that this fellow is affected in new and chronic infected cases, and it is more effective than zidovudine. Okay, 2 advantages. So specifically indinavir, this should be taken on empty stomach. Okay, GI intolerance is common. Gastrointestinal upset. The patient might have abdominal pain, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, sometimes even malaise and fatigue. Take with lot of fluids. Lot of fluids to avoid nephro or urolithiasis. Okay, kidney stones. To avoid that, urinary tract stones or kidney stones, take it with a lot of water. Okay. Coming to specific PK, the bioavailability is around 65%. It will get rapidly absorbed though. undergoes hepatic metabolism, and around most of it gets excreted through urine. 20% will get excreted unchanged. Okay, so most of it gets excreted. I'll just write urinary excretion, easier for you. Okay, less than 20% gets excreted unchanged, meaning it will not undergo metabolism. Only 80% or so undergoes metabolism. If there is overdose, it might cause angina or it might cause myocardial infarction. Overdosage might lead to MI or angina. Okay, so you have to be careful with the dosage. Normally, you will give around 800 mg TDS. Um, doses around 800 mg 3 times a day. If you are giving it with ritonavir, then decrease it to BD. Okay, BD if given with ritonavir. Alright. If you are giving it alone, you can give it 3 times per day. If you are giving it with ritonavir, decrease it to 2 times per day. Alright. So that completes our antiretrovirals. Now there are two more drug classes. These are newer drugs. Okay, they're not used as often, but they are slightly better in certain senses. They are entry inhibitors. ठीक है, एंट्री इनहिबिटर्स में आता आपका एन्फ्यूविटाइड, एन्फ्यूविटाइड. You will also have Maraviroc. What these do is they will inhibit the binding of virus to the host cell membrane, blocking entry. Okay, especially enfuvirtide, what it will do is initially once the virus is coming into your coming into the body and it is attaching, it needs to fuse with the cell membrane so as to what you call release the contents of its cytoplasm. यहाँ पर enfuvirtide will not let that binding occur or that attachment occur properly. Maraviroc on the other hand, it will bind with certain receptors. Now, how a virus comes and attaches to a cell is that, let's suppose this is a cell. Okay, there will be particular receptors like this. Whenever there is a virus that is moving around like this fellow will sense the presence of this particular receptor. It will come and attach to this receptor. That is how binding and all will occur. Maraviroc will go and bind to certain receptors, because of which HIV will not be able to enter into the cell. It will not be able to attach to the cell altogether. Okay. Initially, the virus needs to come and attach. After that, it will bind and fusion and uncoating will occur. The step between attachment and uncoating will be stopped by enfuvirtide. The step where virus is coming approaching a cell, that itself is what you call stopped by Maraviroc. All right. Now both of these are only used for HIV. Okay, when and other antiretrovirals are not working, that is when you use Maraviroc or enfuvirtide. All right. So that completes our antivirals. We'll start malaria tomorrow. All right, anti-malarials tomorrow.